Jim back with another video, and I've been on a mission. I've gotten hooked on these quads, and I'm trying to figure out the best way to do the goggles. I have bought every box goggle out there, and I have sent every one of them back. I cannot get any of them to get into a focal point that I can utilize with my reading glasses. So I'm down to this. These Quantum V2 Pros seem to have the most flexibility and possibilities to get something that's going to work with my eyes. I see fine long distance. Up close is an issue. With that said, I have these, and I have been using these for years and years and years. And it dawned on me last night after trying, I can't tell you how many combinations of these lenses, combinations of glasses. I went to the drugstore last night and I tried a 300 and held it approximately the same distance that this would be. And that actually did pretty good. But it seems like I need like a 400, 350, something like that. So what I'm going to start with is maybe buying some more cheaters and see if I even need to put this lens in there. So I've got some versatility and time to work on all that. I can tell you this works great. I do a lot of electronics, being a ham radio operator. This is awesome. You can just buy the lenses in a 3 or 4 pack with different powers. So I am going to order one of these, or try to find the other lenses that I already have, and then I know that I can take a piece of plastic and figure out how to cut this and mount it in here where I can utilize these only. I've seen one other YouTube guy that actually went and bought a bunch of prescription glasses and did similar thing to it. I have seen mod after mod on these, and a lot of them are good. Some of them look like junk when they're done, but they're effective and they work. So I guess it doesn't really matter. I'm a neat freak, anal retentive as hell, so mine are gonna have to look good as well. So out of the videos, what I did learn is this stuff is very shiny and reflective, and it poses a problem because that screen puts off a ton of light. So the first thing I saw was a couple guys actually doing the felt. Thought that was a fabulous idea, but they kind of just slammed it in there. As you can see, this has got some rough edges. This is sticking up some. This one as well. So I'm going to come in here with a razor blade and I'm going to clean all this up to make it nice and flat. Once I get that done, I'm going to use this tacky glue, and I am going to take the brush and brush the entire inside of this, and then I am going to take the felt and actually lay it in on cut and shape it and press it. Let it completely dry for however long that might take. Then I'm going to come back with a straight razor blade and then do my trimming. I'm going to do this to the top and bottom, and I'm going to do it before I go ahead and hot glue these on here. I've already tested the glue and it's not reacting to this styrofoam, so it works just fine. So that's plan A. Hopefully that's going to work out. I'm just going to trim it along. I'm going to get it all nice and neat and get the felt installed first. Then I'll deal with all this. This part's easy for me, being an electronics guy. I've already had it hooked up and played with it. I am going to try to do my wires a little differently. I'd even thought about trying to make some paths within the styrofoam itself, and I still may do that where I may carve a path out to run wires so I don't have to run them on the outside of the sock. But we'll see how that progresses. You know, as you build things, things change. So I'm going to go ahead and work on this for a while, then I'll get back to you guys. Okay guys, I'm back. This is the bottom piece, and I took my time and shaved off all the high points with a straight razor blade here. and went ahead and glued up the sides, painted it in with this. and it went all the way up and around and all the way around here, and I let it completely dry. Then I came back with a very, very sharp pair of scissors and cut this out. I originally thought I'd cut this with a razor blade, but the felt's almost impossible. It pulls and drags and doesn't do a very good job at all. But it came out with no bumps. It didn't bleed through. Really looks good. I'm very, very happy with it. It's nice and smooth. I still have to trim around the nose. I'm going to get a smaller pair of scissors that I've got stuck somewhere I got to go find and trim this very carefully all the way around. I don't want it down and around the nose. I want it to just be inside, and then what I'll probably do is dab in a little bit more glue here to set it on down. But on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm pretty darn happy with these. I think they look better than most. So I will come in here and put the foam blocks in next. Will be the next project. This one I haven't trimmed yet. I wanted to show you. It's still drying. It's a lot easier to trim after it dries. There is a little gap right here, but from the inside it looks fine. It's very smooth. I think this is going to help keep it nice and dark and keep the reflective properties down of this material, because that's one thing I did notice with a lot of people that they had issues with. So I think this is a clean, good installation. This is a good start. So the next thing I'm going to do is put the foam in like I said. Then I'm going to go ahead and mount the screen in, and then I'm going to take a long time to figure out what combination of lenses work and or prescription or non-prescription. I do have some prescription readers as well, so I'm just going to keep experimenting until I get to a point that I can utilize it within the case itself. A lot of people mount it on the outside of the case. I'm not really opposed to doing that, but I'd rather put it where it belongs. Makes it look nicer. I will tell you, I have tried it on the outside of the case, and that extra inch or so makes a world of difference. So I haven't decided what I'm going to do there yet. So that's the next big experiment. Like I said, the electronics end of it I'm not too worried about, and getting the wires neat and doing all the stuff that needs to be done with that. Another thing I'm going to do, and I don't know if any of you guys have done this or not, but what drives me nuts is this is the battery I got for this. And plugging it in and out, over and over and over is just a big pain in the rear end. So probably right in here, I'm going to put a switch in. I'm going to put one of those little roller switches in to kill the positive. So you don't have to keep plugging it in and out. I haven't seen anybody do it. I don't think it's going to be an issue. I think it's going to make a easier task of, you don't want to have to keep pulling this in and out all day if you're out there, and I think it's going to work out good. But we'll see. I'll get back to that at some point. I do have the single receiver. I see that the diversity receivers, are several guys using the 2s. I just noticed the other day there's a 3 out there. With radio signals, height is everything. And I think the guys that are building the repeaters are better off than the guys that are using multiple antennas. And the reason being is, if you can get this antenna 10 feet up, I don't really care what kind of antenna you got, because height is everything in radio. Being a ham radio operator, the higher your antenna, the better the signal, the better reception, the better everything. Your drone's already got the height, so it doesn't need any help in that department. But that's something else I'm going to play with as well. So I just opted for the single. I think that's the way to go. I did buy a little bit different antenna. You can even build antennas. It's not a big deal. You just got to make sure that you have the impedance correct in the standing wave ratio, which is SWRs, which is the radio being matched to the antenna. I would say that these cheap antennas probably aren't doing a lot of signal matching. This is on 5.8, and you can get different size, different gains antennas. A bigger gain antenna helps, but as far as these paddles and things, I've experimented with them, those flat antennas. I really am not seeing a great deal of help from them, but we'll see as we go on. So as soon as I get a couple more things done with this, I'll be adding to it. So the good thing is, in your world I'll be back in a few seconds. In my world it could be next week, who knows, right? Thanks for watching this part of it, and I'll be back soon. Okay guys, I'm back again. I think I mentioned earlier in the video I was going to put a switch on this battery. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and do now, and it's going to be pretty basic and pretty easy. These are made for 110 volts. I see no reason why they shouldn't handle this at all. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the wire here, and it will get placed right there on those two prongs and make connection. This side I'm going to cut right about there and basically do the same thing. I think you'll be all saying, well, you're going to get a little power loss or whatever, but if this can handle 110 volts, it surely can handle this. I may have this one too long. I think I do. It's got to fit in this little housing which applies pressure down. And that's gone forever. So let's see. And then you put this down. Next, get the little black cord out of the way, put the little screw back in. And where is the other little screw? That's good. Murphy's Law at work, of course. Oh, it's in there. So good. Never mind. Picked on Murphy for no good reason whatsoever. So, let's see. That should be your switch. Which now, if I take the power cord, and I didn't plan too well in advance here. Here we go. And plug it in here. And in theory, we got power here. Radio's not on. Switch it. Radio's on. So, switch is going to work just fine. And that'll keep from having to keep on doing and doing this in the field, and during the build it's going to be handy as well, so I don't have to sit here and keep messing with it. Alright, that's all I got for now. I'll be back. Okay guys, I'm back. So I've got this all done. It came out better than I expected, or as good as I thought, and it really looks nice. It's nice and even. Cutting along here was a bit of a challenge. You can't do it with a razor blade. You have to have a really sharp pair of scissors, and they got to be small, and you just got to kind of work your way around. I don't think it's going to be a big deal because this is going to probably have foam over it to some degree, and this as well, but from what I've seen from other folks, it's definitely usable. I went ahead and glued in these, and I've been doing some testing. On the clear strip on top of the lens here, not lens, but the screen, I put a little test thing. Now I wear reading glasses at about 150. This lens right here is the highest power one. So I've stuck this in, and I've been doing test fits back and forth. I went to Dollar Tree and I picked up the most powerful glasses they had, which is only $3.25. And that's these right here. Saw another guy that took and glued two lenses together to get what he needed to do, and I know they make glasses all the way up to like 700 magnification, but this is all I could find locally cheap. Well, I put these on, and lo and behold, they're perfect. I mean, they could be just a touch better, but I can see the screen just as pretty as you please, and I'm not all the way back, so I'm confident that this is going to work now, and I'm going to be able to see it just fine. So I'm going to go move forward with the build, and I think this is going to work out really, really nice. I may go ahead and try to find some cheap glasses online and get a 350, a 375, and a 400. But this also keeps me from having to put two lenses in, which I didn't really want to do. I saw one more neat trick that I may do that I saw a gentleman do today. This thing apparently moves back and forth and doesn't stay very stable. It kind of moves around. He took and put two pieces of balsa wood in here and made a spot that it slid right into and stayed. So I think that's not a bad idea. What I may do is just hot glue some foam in, being I've already felted it. If I hadn't put felt in, I probably would do what he did, but being I'm going to be the primary person using this all the time, I think that's a good solution. So I'm going to keep moving on with the build. I know there's hundreds of these out there. I'm trying to make mine look the neatest and the best, try to figure out all the issues, and hopefully this is going to help you guys. So I should be back. Well, you'll see me in a little bit, a few seconds. This, since the last one was about 5 hours. See you later. Thanks for watching. Okay guys, I'm back again. So what I've done is I've got the sock on it, and I'm still doing some testing, but I did find some things that I did like. The receiver that I got fits good here, doesn't stretch the neoprene too much, and allows me to be able to see everything just fine, which is good. The battery, everybody seems to run their battery from the top, and it seems cumbersome and a lot of wires and so forth. So I came through and ran it through the bottom. Made more sense to me. And you've got this spot here to run it up through. So I haven't decided what I'm going to do with the wires yet, but the switch I'm in love with. As you can see, and I don't know if you can see down inside, but I'm going to flip the switch, and the screen comes right on. So that's a big hit. I think that's probably one of the best improvements I made. So I'm going to make this like video 1, part 1. Part 2 is going to be tidying up everything, getting things the way I want it. I would really like to have L's on all these, so they're not sticking down so much. And I also had bought a DVR that I'm going to add to this. And I've got to do the foam. Now, what I have is nothing there yet. It's not uncomfortable to wear as it is. Works out pretty good, but obviously you're going to want something. When I opened this, there was another thing of foam here. I'm not sure what that was for exactly. And of course the package came with all this. But I have a thought, and hang on a sec. Go over here and grab something. I have these 3D glasses, and they have a really nice piece on it that comes off, and this is obviously very nice. So what my plan is, or thought process is, this is about the same size unit. I may have to cut them in the center and make them a little smaller, but I'd be willing to sacrifice a $9 pair of goggles to get a really nice foam fitting face piece. And this looks like it'd just peel off. I just haven't done it. See, I think it's just gonna basically come apart, and it's behind this, but I think with super glue I think I can really utilize this. So that's my next plan. So we're going to make a part 2 for this, and hopefully that will be done the next couple of days. But we're making progress. Can't wait to start this new road and do an FPV flying. It should be interesting. Anyway, let's wrap it up. Hope this was helpful. Like I said, I'll have more to come. And if you could see your way clear, maybe subscribe, give me a thumbs up. I'd like to really get this thing going. One of my next videos coming up will be about my reloading system and the way I've got it all set up for that, making ammunition. We're going to be flipping back and forth between the drones and other things. So thanks for watching, and hope to see you again soon.